Hello, hello! Welcome back, dear viewers. This is Maverick here, and right now we're going to be watching another episode of BEASTARS. Now, I realize I kind of look like a huge block of black right now, but I'm actually having a cold, so staying warm takes priority, and appearances be damned, right? Anyways, back to the episode at hand. Last episode, we got into quite a lot of drama, right? More specifically, Juno found out about Legoshi's feelings and attitudes towards Haru, so we got this whole dynamic going there. Is she going to be jealous or whatnot? I do hope that they're not going to write her down to be this sort of bad woman wrote, right? The wicked women trying to steal others, steal the loves or attention from others, that kind of stuff. I quite like her character, actually, so I do hope that I don't have to hate her for this. Beyond that, let's see. Obviously, we're going to get into a confrontation between Louis and Legoshi soon. There are already hints of that in the last episode, but I feel like, with the ending of last episode and Haru calling out to Louis, well, running towards Legoshi, that is a sort of honest mistake and whatnot, but like there's no man in the world that's gonna take that and not feel furious, right? Jealousy, furious, sadness, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know, I have a sneaking suspicion that we are going to be seeing some conflict in this episode. All the love and hate and whatnot, all the drama, but at least it's entertaining. So on that note, let's get into the episode. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. And oh yeah, I skipped the opening. Number 4. Oh. Nightmares from Louis. Number 4. Was he a slave or something? 4 is also quite the unlucky number in lots of Eastern cultures as well, because the pronunciation of it is similar to death. That goes for Chinese and Japanese and maybe some other cultures as well. Product ID? Not really. So that's how the black market operates. Panda? And this looks like another deer? Yeah. Hmm. Huh. Oh. Damn. They literally eat them alive? Huh? Damn. He's gonna fight against the carnivores? With a knife? Wait, what? Oh. You want to suicide? Horns Group Chairman. Huh, so that's why he's saying he comes from a good family. So he had this prideful streak ever since he was a little kid. I love it. We finally got his backstory. Now he's dead. Oh no, never mind. That was Tim. Top of the shaft. Elevator. uh. Wait, what happened? What was he doing? No, I thought that was the other guy for a second. So is the current Beast Star a carnivore? He has nothing but respect for him. Really? That's the conclusion he came to. Oh man, this dude. Yeah. Now, notwithstanding everything else, Magosha is definitely a straight man. As in character. Yeah, even if you know you'll be rejected, you still want to. But here, in this condition, right now? uh... this is fun. Good choice of words. Like Ocean. But, I mean, alright, that is romantic and all, but, you know, it is very, um, very manga anime like to have this very formal kind of confession, right? Properly confess, properly be rejected, and then everybody lives on. Somehow I don't think that's going to. What? Like I said, somehow I don't think that's going to happen just like that. They've all slept with her. The Leo group. Don't tell me like that's a rival group to. If this is really as influential as they say, then the mayor might be compromised as well. Oh, okay. Not really compromised, but just too scared to do anything. Ah. And of course, just as Legoshi is walking past. Oh, it literally had nothing to do with anything else. It just wanted a little white rabbit. Wow, all lions. What is this? Some kind of mafia group or what? No, seems like someone's coming. Oh. This is the leader of the Leo group. Oh, the Leo means light. I see. Yeah, somehow I doubt that he's taking her in to eat her, because there has to be other ways to do this, right? Rather than kidnapping a random white rabbit off the streets. Eighteen. Okay. I don't get it. Is he a pervert, or does he really want to eat her? Or is there some other... Damn. This is certainly getting very real. Oh, I thought he was taking a picture or something. Wash up. Damn, he really wants to eat her. Just like that. That's the way you get meat? Mm. Oh, is Louis going to decide to not do anything? Please no, do something, Louis. Hmm. Damn. This series suddenly got real, so real, so quick. Holy shit. I think Louis can't do. Please don't do nothing, Louis. Now would be a good time for you to punch him as well, Legoshi. Punch him. Go! Good one. Man. Damn, what an episode! Alright, see you guys after this. Man, this episode certainly got real exciting real quick, right? And we got lots of stuff happening at the same time already, and we are faced with some very conflicting decisions, right? Louis. So let's talk about him for a little bit, right? Because it's kind of funny, right? At the beginning of the episode, they were making out for him to have this sort of, I guess, tragic backstory in a sense. And then, through the eyes of Legoshi, viewing Louis as sort of this upright, morally upright character. He's strong, he's firm, he's fair, and he's really, by all means, seems to be an upstanding person, right? He's an upright character. And what everybody should strive to be, right? And then we go to the very end there, and you have this entire thing with maintaining the facade, and then Louis also has to maintain his facade as well, and this just goes into so many different layers here, right? And it's just, I don't know, I don't even know where to begin. Well, okay. Let's begin by by talking a little bit about the black market, right? Because I've made it very firmly clear a few episodes ago that I really didn't like the fact that you were using a black market to meet the needs of the carnivores. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's some people who watch this episode and who are more on the on the side of no, you guys should not eat meat at all, and blah blah blah. So the black market can be banned. I'm not going at it from that kind of angle. I just feel like, the whole reason that a black market exists is because authorities refuse to officially recognize, officially regulate this sort of industry, right? Either for moralistic or I guess political correctness reasons, something like that. And this is what happens when you leave this to when you make this into an unregulated business. And so we now see the source of meat includes living kids, living herbivores and whatnot that were sold to the black market and can be consumed, I guess, as live meat, right? Now, of course, you might think, hey, if that's not if that's not how to get the meat, how else are they going to source this kind of meat, right? Well, what I was thinking originally was that perhaps, when you get amputations, your limbs and whatnot, they can be sent there, or people who die of old age, or even people who die of, or I guess I say people, but animals that die of old age, or they die from other natural causes, like perhaps there's a deal with the hospitals and whatnot so they can transfer their meat over. And heck, if you really want to get even a little bit more morbid about it, you could say people from the animals that are locked up in prison or whatnot. Those that this could be a different kind of death sentence, right? And then also, of course, you can get into a morally gray area where you allow people to sell off their own body parts for money, right? As we could see within the episode where Legoshi and his classmates visited the black market. Now, that's selling your own stuff, and again, there are lots of moral complications to that as well, but at least it's not selling other people, slaves or whatnot, and to die, right? To me, that's still two different stories here. And See, the reason why I feel like, even though this might seem like an unsavory business, but still, they should bring it out into light and officially regulate it. It's sort of similar to, say, for instance, Prohibition, right? Prohibition period where alcohol was banned, or, for instance, the war on drugs right now in the US and I guess worldwide as well. Now, that's especially in this case where it's even more of their animalistic instincts, it's human nature, I guess, in a sense of way. You're going against your base needs to limit what they can get and whatnot. That's even worse, right? Even drugs or alcohol, these things aren't necessary or whatnot. At least I would say that they're less necessary than meat for carnivores, right? Even that, by banning it, by placing restrictions on it, you get all these different mafia groups and whatnot are springing up, and people earn lots of money. People earn money through people get into this business because they're huge profits, and you just allow this rampant buildup of crime to be there by refusing to officially recognize it, right? Not to mention the whole other part I was talking about, which is stuff to do with prejudice between the herbivores and carnivores, etc., etc., right? That's why I'm pushing for this to be not a black market anymore, but still actually having a ethically sourced meat, whatever you want to call it. Heck, I don't know. Maybe they can have lab-grown meat or something like that in the future, right? Similar to our real world right now. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to take away from that point first. And like I was saying about the mafia groups, so the Leo group is one of them, right? I mean, obviously in this case, it's not particularly directly related with the black market and all that, but they still. And even if this was a on the table kind of situation, you would still have this kind of people who want to, I guess, the thrill of a live animal or whatnot, and so they want to do this. That's still there, right? That's never going to be completely eliminated. But at least they wouldn't have to sort of, in this case, the authorities have to sort of turn a blind eye to the situation because they need to maintain a facade, right? I feel like this would also, recognition of the differences between herbivores and carnivores, and actually, bring the meat consumption into light and fully regulating it. That would do much wonders in terms of avoiding these types of situations, right? Not the kidnapping part. That's always going to happen no matter what, but at least it wouldn't be in this sense of, we can't do it because of some yada 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 reason, right? And yeah, I was saying that I was starting to talk about about Louis. I turned into an essay about the black market and prejudice and whatnot. But anyways, so Louis. So here again, it's still, the funny thing is that it's still part of his character to make this sort of compromise, right? Because at the end of the day, in a sense, it is being politically correct, right? Upholding the of course you can say morally it's wrong to do this, but compromise is the name of the game in real world politics as well. You're not going to be able to do everything according to your idealistic morals, right? As much as we like to say that, as much as we like to strive for that, that is not realistic. So let's pretend, for instance, it's not actually Haru there, because that sort of simplifies the situation. Let's say it's just a random rabbit that was taken off the streets and taken by the Leo organization, a Leo group, and then we have the exact same conversation here between Louis and Mayor, right? Is that going to change anything? I feel like that, in that kind of sense, the sentiment kind of shifts a bit, right? Because, I mean, let's be real here. This happens all the time in world politics as well. There are lots of countries doing shitty things, and we still need to maintain compromises. I mean, all countries are shitty in their own ways. They all do bad stuff in their own ways. I don't think that's, again, looking at this from a more realistic point of view, there's nobody that's really purely innocent, right? But, there are degrees of bad here. And sometimes a more relatively good-speaking country would be forced to do business or recognize or do some other stuff to turn a blind eye to the stuff that's happening in the relatively worse countries and whatnot, because they need to maintain the status quo. And the alternative to it, like a full-on conflict, a full-on war, would probably harm even more people in the long run, right? And that is where these sort of compromises come in. Here, I feel like it's sort of a similar situation. You know, if this was not Haru, honestly, I feel like Louis would have absolutely no trouble doing something like this, right? Because, you know, it's overall to maintain the facade, right? And it's to maintain this sort of delicate balance between herbivores and carnivores, which, again, I argue they put themselves into this in the first place, but nevertheless, this is the situation we're left with, right? Now, with that being said, however, I'm not excusing his behavior here, because I also feel like there's some personal motivation in him trying to become a Beastar as well, right? Not only his prejudice against the carnivores, or maybe it's to prove himself, right? Especially because of his shitty past, and as we know from then, he was already quite the prideful character even back then. So, is he actually trying to become a Beastar in order to promote this sort of harmony between carnivores and herbivores? Perhaps, but I would argue that there's probably even a little bit more stuff that's driving him that's more on the personal level, right? It's not really like for the greatness, for the advancement of humankind, for the greater good, you know, that kind of ideology that he's doing this type of stuff. At least I don't think so. That might be part of it, but deep down he still has his personal motivations that's pushing him along. And with that being said here, though, like I said, it's you know, I feel it's really easy for us who have no investment in the actual world itself. Like, we don't live in that world to immediately go in and say, oh yeah, just directly, what are you doing, Louis? Just save Haru, right? And I mean, on a emotional level, that's what I'm yelling at him to do as well. But I can get logically why he would be hesitant to do that, right? And you know what? I love it when anime can deal with this sort of complicated situation, right? I also love it when games are made like this, where, you know, being an idealist is sort of detrimental, right? It's not all sunshine and flowers and trying to do what we believe is the correct or morally right thing. It doesn't necessarily give the best outcome, right? In gaming, like the most prominent examples I can think of from the last few years would be something like Papers, Please or This War of Mine, etc., etc. I'm sorry, I'm sure there's lots more titles, but those two are the ones that come right off the head right now. So yeah, I'm digging it. I am digging it, and I do hope that you know, like I said, they do develop the thought process on the other side as well, because obviously right here, you know, we as viewers, we can emphasize with Legoshi, we can emphasize with Haru, and you know, we want them to go save her and whatnot, and Louis is being an asshole right now, right? And, you know, in a sense, that is still true, regardless of, you know, what the greater good is or whatnot. But still, I do hope that it's not just going to make it so clear cut and dry. And the anime so far, the series so far, is doing a pretty great job of, you know, presenting all these different kinds of viewpoints, etc., etc. Also, that was a long talk about Louis, Legoshi. You know, not really much to say there. Like I said, he's really the character that we're supposed to emphasize with, in a sense. So, you know, he's doing the upright thing, he's doing the correct thing and whatnot, and I do love that he punched Louis right back. You know, he absolutely deserved it at that point. And I love how Legoshi, after he punched Louis, immediately went over and like, oh, what did I do, right? That was quite funny as well. What else here? So, yeah, but I'm really curious how they are going to continue with this story going forward, right? Because obviously, like, even Legoshi himself is not going to be enough to rescue Haru out of the Mafia's hands, right? Like, that is out of the question. He's just a gray wolf. Those are all lions, right? And even if we go back into a real world example, it's like a high school student versus a Mafia group, right? Is he going to convince Louis to his side? I feel like that might be what's going to happen here. Like, Louis will sort of calm down a bit and you know, think this through and be like, okay, no, I can't really settle for this. I still need to save Haru, and I don't know, perhaps he's gonna call in some favors from his foster father, right, the Horns group or whatnot. Like, potentially they have some connections and are able to do this. But otherwise, I fail to see like how exactly they are going to get out of that sort of situation, right? If the authorities aren't going to help you and whatnot, then it depends on you yourself. And in this case, I don't think that is a place where they can just fight through by themselves. And also, one last thing about Louis, I feel like it's in this episode they made this sort of point, this sort of threat, I guess you could say, where the mayor would help cover up the fact that Louis was a slave before, if he agreed to stay hush for this incident, right? I kind of get this feeling, I kind of get this hunch that in the future, Louis's identity is going to be revealed anyways, right? Perhaps even of his own volition. But I suspect if that does happen to be true, that's way further on down the line, right? But I could totally see this turning into a point where, it's sort of a hurdle that he has to pass through himself here. Right, I can already see Legoshi is probably going to end up with Paru in the end. Louis is going to come to terms with his past in a sort of way. Whether or not which one of them is going to become BEASTARS, still don't really know. My money would probably still be more on Louis at this point, but who knows? Who knows, right? Anyways, that was a very great, very interesting episode. Lots of stuff to think about, and really, I only just touched the surface here, honestly. I feel like there's so much more stuff that I can go on, but it's nearly 15 minutes already, and I really got to end this video. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.